I'm going to talk about that in Commissioner's comments. The Preservation Society put it together.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Do you know Beth Murphy? I think she worked on that with Tracy from the hardware store and maybe one of Bill Cameron's grandkids, maybe, or a daughter or something.
Oh,
It was kind of a group effort.
got a minute and a half yet. This guy's going to use the timer.
Yeah. Oh, she has it good. Because I can't listen and monitor that at the same time. I could use some help with that. Bill, are you ready? Bill, are you ready? Yep. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Brenda Hess. I'd like to welcome everybody to our regular City Commission meeting. It's Monday, January 23rd, 2017 at 7 o'clock p.m., and I'd like to call this meeting to order. If everybody could please rise, and we can all join together and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Nate Babcock was supposed to be with us this evening for the invocation, and he was not able to attend tonight. So we're going to move right ahead and go on to the roll call. Gladys?
Paul?
Yes.
Hess?
Here?
Moore?
Here.
Carney?
Here.
Yancey?
Yes.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you, Gladys. Moving on to item number 4, we're at public comments. At this point, citizens are allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss any agenda item.
You can stop me before I get started. if
Okay, can
it's-
you just say your name for the record?
Sure, Dr. Andrea Vanderlaan. I'm school superintendent, but I am also a community member, and you can tell me if I need to stop, because really I'm here to talk about your medical marijuana dispensary.
I'm sorry, that is not on the agenda this
That's
evening.
why I stopped, yep.
Yeah, we're,
When
that
is your
will-
work session?
The work session, for everybody's information, is on February 7th. Is it at 6 p.m., Bill, or is it at 7? 7 p.m. You are welcome to stay. After we're done, it comes at the end under public comments for any non-agenda items.
Oh,
So
wait.
you're more than welcome to stay or come back, whatever you prefer. Thank you very much.
Hopefully it'll be a quick meeting.
Yes, we won't dilly-dally, we promise. All right, up next on our agenda for this evening is our consent calendar. Can I get a motion to approve our consent calendar as written?
I'll so move.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call?
Hess?
Yes?
Moore?
Yes.
Carney?
Yes.
Yancey?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Unanimous, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
And that resolution on item G will be 146.
Thank you very much.
146.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item 6. We're to the point where we're going to talk about the reports by departments, committees, and boards. This evening, we are joined by the Buchanan City Fire Department, and they're going to talk about their end-of-the-year report. And speaking on behalf of the fire department will be Assistant Fire Chief Bobby Blaylock. Sorry, Bob. You can come on up to the microphone, thanks.
Good evening. Good evening. A couple of firefighters that came with me is Chris Geisler, and also everybody may know Mr. Scanlon. 2016, I keep wanting to say 15 because I still have a problem with writing down 16 for 17. So, but I will be reporting on 2016. We responded to 93 calls last year, 6 structure fires, 1 fire not in a structure, grass shed or dumpster, 3 vehicle fires, 5 illegal burns, 3 motor vehicle accidents, 13 mutual aids, 27 alarms, 3 smoke investigations, and 32 others, such as power lines down, gas leaks, missing persons, and service calls. In January, we supported the Thrill on the Hill, responded to 6 calls. In February, we had building construction and pre-planned training, responded to 4 calls. March, supported Girl Scouts badge works and middle school fire drills, responded to 7 calls. April, performed drafting training, responded to 2 calls. May, supported the mail carrier food drive and the school fire drills, AEP fire drill, and Memorial Day parade, responded to 6 calls. June, went to 5 Pines for team building training, responded to 14 calls. July, hosted the Berrien County Firefighters Association meeting, supported the annual burn run, responded to 7 calls. August, supported the Berrien Youth Fair and National Night Out and first Thrill on the Hill, responded to 9 calls. September, performed aerial training at the AEP Bob building, responded to 17 calls. October, many fire prevention, public education events, school and station visits, responded to 8 calls. November, West Air Care training, search and rescue at Stark, and supported the tree lighting ceremony, responded to 6 calls. December, Department Family Party, responded to 7 calls. We spent 392 man-hours conducting internal training. This would be training that we did ourselves. We spent 116 man-hours in training outside of the fire department that was conducted by other organizations. We conducted 378 hours with the public, and that was 16 different events and the Thrill on the Hill. In 2016, we were able to maintain our membership numbers at a level which is above average for most fire paid-on-call fire departments. We currently have 22 certified firefighters, 2 trainees, and 3 cadets. With the addition of a $500,000 tax, it enabled us to purchase a large capital items for the fire department, allowing us to update our firefighting gear, hose, nozzles, pagers, and last year it was used to refurb 4620, our secondary pumper. We look forward to 2017 as another year of good training opportunities and community events to support and be a part of. We're looking at new fundraiser ideas for the year and the possibility of selling the bricks again for the Memorial Bell. Additionally, we will be hosting our annual Department Awards banquet in March and hope to see you all there. Thank you again for your continued support of the department and this wonderful place we live in, Buchanan.
Thank you. Bob, would anybody like to make comments or ask questions? Commissioners? Well, I'll start. I would like to say that our fire department is a source of pride for this community. Just looking at and hearing all of the things you do, people, I think the fire department just is here to put out fires and a stereotype, maybe get cats out of trees, but we know that you're very involved in our community and you do a lot to help all of us in ways totally unrelated to safety, and we really appreciate that. And I, for one, am very impressed at the amount of training you do and how you're always trying to be a better fire department and add to your knowledge and skill base. So if anyone else wanted to add to that.
I think you covered it, Mayor.
But I do have to say, we do rescue cats. We will rescue
Okay,
cats
okay,
out of
just in
trees,
case.
so. We did have one a couple years ago that was sort of interesting. So
Sorry, it's just trying to avoid a
yeah,
stereotype there.
That is a stereotype, but we will
yes.
rescue cats.
So, if people in the community wanted this, will this be available like on a website or on a Facebook page? Is there something you can?
Yeah, anybody that would be interested in a copy of this, it just goes off our training records, and we, like I said, we try to keep the man hours for like something like the thrill is almost impossible to keep. You know what I'm saying? So the things like that is approximate, but yes, that's correct. Anybody can have a copy of any of the fire department. You know, this is public, like I said, public knowledge if they want it.
Good.
It will put them to sleep, but yes, they can have
I
it.
think it's like a nice report card you want to put on the fridge.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
All right. Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move on to item number, let's see, 7, and this is unfinished business. Our first item this evening, I'm sorry, wait a minute, okay, sorry. Item 7, we have no unfinished business, so we're going to move quickly to item 8, new business. Our first item this evening under new business is we're going to consider fiscal year 2018 resolution of intent, Buchanan Dial-A-Ride funding application, and we'll now be hearing from Kim O'Haver. Kim?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I was just thinking, as I was sitting there, this is my 11th year to come before you and present the funding application for Buchanan Dial-A-Ride, and it doesn't seem that long at all. But every year, I give you a stack of paper about this thick, which is our federal and state application for funding for the coming fiscal year, which is 2018. I will start off with the budget. I put a little 2-page summary in there for you because the 10 pages that follow are just too hard to put together and understand. But I did project a balanced budget for 2018. And a good part of that is because with the new fuel tax and the transportation bill that was passed by our legislature, transportation is now seeing more funding. And funds are starting to increase this month as a result of the fuel tax. So we're getting a little more help from the state. We're still going to get the same amount of assistance from the federal government, which is 18.5%. So I'm very happy to project a balanced budget for 2018. The rest of the forms in your package, a lot of them have to do with if it's a law, will you obey it? Yes, we will. We have 3 in there that are like that, and believe me, the laws are like this. We report on ADA complaints. We have had none. We talk about our coordination with the other public transit systems in our area and how we work together. We get together, we go to each other's meetings, we see each other at training sessions, and we're all good friends and we get along really well, and so that makes it easy to try to get someone from point A to point B, even if it's a challenge. We will see if we can make it work. The County Board of Commissioners last December approved a resolution to set up a transportation authority. And that would be a kind of umbrella organization that hopefully all of the transit systems in Berrien County would become a part of. And they are hoping that this will be the framework for increased coordination among the transit systems. So it's not going to happen overnight. They have to form the entity. They have to line up their board. But it's an ongoing process, and that will be developing as time goes on. We affirm to the state that our vehicles are lift equipped and that we test the lifts and that they run and that we fix them right away if they don't. We report on Title VI complaints, and we have had no complaints under Title VI. We have a vehicle accessibility plan update, and that basically just tells everyone we're not going to increase the size of our fleet. It's going to stay at 3 vehicles. They're all lift equipped. And the second page of that report has the list of names of the people who are on our local advisory council. And I think Norma would tell you that we have a wonderful advisory group. They're very enthusiastic, interested, active, involved, and they're just a great group to have. We meet twice a year and talk about all things transit. We do have a capital request this year for 2018. We are requesting funding for onboard cameras for our 3 buses. That is not to spy on our drivers. They are as much for the protection of our drivers as they are for the protection of our passengers. Sometimes there will be a he said, she said type thing where, your driver did this to me, or one passenger hit another passenger, or something like that. These things happen. Cameras on board the buses will help to resolve those things. So it's just one of those technologies that a lot of transit systems are getting into now, and we think it's a good idea for the Buchanan system. And also, Berrien County Public Transportation will be getting onboard cameras at the same time. So that is pretty much the essence of our application. I wanted to fill you in just a little bit on our operations last year. Last year, I came to you and I said 2015 was a banner year. It was stellar. It was one of the best years we've ever had. I would love to be able to come to you this year and say the same thing about 2016. But we can't have a banner year every year. And our numbers were down a little bit last year. There are some reasons for that. One of them is a very good reason. Last year, we were transporting some homeless students to their school of origin. We are not doing that this year. So while our numbers are down because of that, it's for the right reason, and we are very, very thankful that we are no longer working in that situation. Another reason is that a few of our seniors who rode very regularly either relocated out of our service area or they passed on. Finally, we had a mother and daughter who rode the bus practically every day, multiple times. They would go here to get a candy bar. They would go there to get another candy bar. They would go here to get an apple or an orange. They've moved out of our service area. So when you think about 2 people riding, let's say 4 times a day, those numbers add up very quickly. And so when you're a small system like we are, it doesn't take much for the numbers to look as though they're going down. But this coming year, I'm happy to report that we have signed a contract for service with the Buchanan Area Senior Center. We are going to be doing medical trips, hopefully, and also doing some group trips, getting bunches of people together and transporting them for special outings. And we also we talked last Friday at the Buchanan Area Chamber of Commerce breakfast, and we're hoping to get together with the city for the next time that they host the breakfast and do a little presentation to all the members of the Chamber of Commerce on Dial-A-Ride and what we can do and what services we offer, because visibility is a good thing and spreading the word is a good thing, and so I would like to take advantage of those opportunities. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Go ahead, Commissioner Dan.
Sir?
How much more are the cameras going to cost?
The total that we're asking for is $9,000. That is covered 80% federal, 20% state. There is no cost to us locally. Those are all covered by federal and state funds. So it's roughly $3,000 a bus. They're located up front, on the sides, and in the back, so that you can see all the way around inside the bus.
Very be Big Brother?
That argument can be made. And I guess on the flip side of that, one of our transit systems in Berrien County had a very unfortunate occurrence a couple of years ago, where someone was hit by a bus. And the cameras were rolling, and the cameras proved that the driver himself did everything appropriately, and the driver was not at fault. So this was a very big deal for that transit system to be able to prove that they were not at fault and not liable in this accident.
How long do you have to store the film? And where are you gonna store it, and how much is that gonna cost?
Those are details that I do not have at hand.
That's the problem. That's what's, with the officers wearing the cameras and everything else. Nobody looks into that, and it's very expensive. And then, you don't know who's gonna release it. That's the problem I have with the Big Brother attitude. It saved one person, but I'm a professional driver too, so I have a very serious issue with cameras.
I
But
understand.
thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
As usual, Kim, I'd like to thank you. You do a good report, and if I may, Mayor?
Oh, yeah, go right ahead.
Unfortunately, in today's society, everybody says this and everybody says that. And being from a big city and being in a lot of civil suits, cameras are a big issue, and that does tell the truth, and it's just a matter of business this day. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Anyone else?
Anything else?
Thank you, Kim, very much. We appreciate the service that Dial-A-Ride gives our residents, and we appreciate the professionalism and the safety of the drivers, and thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to come down and talk to you.
Okay, now we're on to new business item B. We're going to consider letting the bid for a Glazer lift station panel project. Oh,
We need to pass it.
oh, do we have to pass it? I am so sorry.
No problem.
I'm just wanting to get things done tonight,
We
aren't
should've
I?
said that a little clearer on the
Take a deep breath and slow down. Okay, we need a motion to accept the fiscal year 2018 resolution of intent Buchanan Dial-A-Ride funding application.
Also move.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Moore,
Yes.
Carney,
Yes.
Bianski,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes?
Cole. Yes. Unanimous, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, and sorry to run right over you there, Gladys. Okay, now we'll move on to item B. We're going to consider letting the bid for Glazer lift station panel project, installing a new external panel integrating all of the controls and electronics from the panel underground in the dry well. And we're going to be hearing from Jason Williams. Come on up, Jason. And I think the audience is really interested in what I just said, because I don't think I said it very well. Thank you.
This is a request for proposal for our lift station at Glazier and Front Streets. The current panel is, as it was said, located underground in a dry well, about 20 feet below ground. Over the past few years, we've had some issues with confined space and just component degradation. So this would take everything that's in the dry well, and pull it up and across the street to a location where we already have a existing panel that has some components in it. This would replace that panel and the one in the dry well, combine it all into one, and actually make it safer for the operators to control the pumps, which will still be in the dry well.
Okay, questions from the commission?
Mayor.
Pat?
Will the lift station be out of operation for while you're doing this repair, and how long would that be?
If it is, it will only be for probably a couple hours. They should be able to run necessary lines, electrical lines to the pumps in parallel with what's already there. There's enough room in the conduit where they could run them down. And then it'd just be a matter of probably the electrician take about a half hour to transfer the power from one over to the other. So we don't see a suspended time that the panel is actually down.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
I'd like to just clarify that.
Sure.
This work will reduce the need, almost eliminate the need for our personnel to actually go into the lift station. So there's a critical point to consider in this, because anytime you go down there, your percentage of an accident greatly increases, and that confined space is not a very pleasurable place to be. And so this work would eliminate the need for our employees to get in that tube.
All right, I need a motion to allow submission of bids for the Glacier and Front Lift Station panel project to install a new external panel integrating all of the controls and electronics from the panel underground in the dry well. Can I have a motion, please?
Also move.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Got all kinds of support. Stay out of that hole.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Gladys, can I have a roll call, please?
Carney?
Yes.
Bianski?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Hess?
Yes,
Moore?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
thank you very much. And thanks for explaining that. Okay, now we're going to move to item number 9, and this is public comments. Citizens are allowed, oops, sorry.
We got one more item.
You get
Oh, we do?
item C.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Boy, I am striking out tonight. You should not come to the meeting without your glasses. All right, sorry about that, everybody. I didn't mean to jump the gun. All right, we're on item C. We're considering letting the bid for purchase of a wheel loader. And I believe we're supposed to hear from JT, but I do.
JT's not available. I can
Okay.
present
Thank
the
you, Bill.
information, Mayor. Mayor, the present wheel loader that we have is 21 years old. It has 7,400 hours on it. Recent reviews by mechanics about that piece of equipment indicate that we're really decreasing in the amount of compression that we're having in the engine. We determined that, we called in the mechanic because we were having trouble pushing snow with the wheel loader. The new push box that we bought for removing downtown snow, the crews were having trouble using our present wheel loader to push the snow, so we have to take it in smaller pieces to move it around. We also discovered that there's a hydraulic leak within the transmission of this unit that we have. And both of those could be substantial to repair. Grant you, not as maybe expensive as buying a brand new unit, but we're looking at the longevity of the unit and what a new unit would last us. Again, we got about 21 years out of this unit, and this next unit has a little larger engine, more capacity, much more refined mechanical movement in it than our present loader does. Again, this loader is used often, and if you break it down, 7,400 hours over 21 years, it's used about 350 hours a year. But those hours could be at 3 o'clock in the morning when we're fixing a water main. We need this piece of equipment to load our salt trucks and our dump trucks, because the backhoe, although it has some lift capability, it's not enough to totally dump material into our dumps and plow trucks. So we want to go out and see what this unit could cost, and to do that, we're asking for to seek bids, sealed bids on this purchase.
Mr. Vigansky?
Have we looked into how much it would take to work with another community, or exactly how much it's going to cost to rebuild that motor?
The The refurbishing cost, no, we have not. The trying to work with another community, I understand where you're heading, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, when we need the piece of equipment, it'd be difficult to go to another community to retrieve it, or rent one and have it brought in. I think the expense would be pretty expensive to get it on a truck and have it delivered when we need it. So the availability is something that we need. We need to have it at hand. The cost for refurbishing our present one, I would have to get that for you, and I can supply it maybe as early as this week's briefing. So you'll have that information. You know, if you do approve us going out at the next commission meeting, you would have both pieces of information to consider.
Carla?
How old is the current one that we have?
It is a 1995 unit.
Wow.
Dale?
Is it currently working? And if
Yes.
it is, do you have any idea what the life expectancy is? And what is the usual lifespan of that particular product, if you know?
Well, a couple of good questions. It is presently still operating, although it's very weak. As I explained, it's having trouble pushing snow. The hydraulics are worn to the point where the detail control of the bucket is a little unsteady. So, those are some of our concerns. What was the other question, Dan? Or
What
Dan?
is the life expectancy of that particular product?
Well, it's kind of based on its performance. This one is definitely showing signs of being worn out. The fact that we're getting low compression in the engine, that's a pretty good indicator that we'll have to either rebuild that engine or purchase another one for that unit. The transmission, we've already been told that the base rate for a repair there is $2,000 and then up. So, but I'll try to have those numbers for you to consider at the next commission meeting.
Mayor?
Okay, Dale?
I just have one other question. Being that it's winter, is it still capable of lifting the salt into our trucks? Because winter is just really getting in.
It's still doing that, but it's giving us signs that it's tired and worn out. But
Okay, I was just curious, because
Yeah.
we're right in the middle of that.
Yeah, if it wasn't trying to tell us something, we would have waited to the budget year to
Sure.
discuss it. But it's on the bubble, and so I wanted to present it to you for consideration.
Sure, thank you.
Carla?
Is there such a thing that we can sell the current one we have? I know with the landfill, we will take our old machinery and sometimes we get more than
Yes.
the
That
scrap.
would be part of the bid process to see what we could trade it in for. I really believe we could probably sell it outright and make $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 more if we sold it outright rather than trading it on the unit. But we'll see what the numbers would be, how they come back.
I just got one more thing.
Go
They
ahead.
do rebuild them in Dowagiac,
Okay.
so I really, really want to see some numbers on rebuild. And I know, 21 years, but it is diesel. So, the bucket, I mean, we're talking some really, really, really big numbers. And I really don't, as long as it's basically, the bucket is sound, the chassis is sound, if it's not falling apart, the motor is gonna be minuscule compared to buying one outright. And another problem that everybody needs to think about is the fact that rebuilding one, you and I could probably still work on it. Whereas opposed, you buy a new one, and we're dealing with new trucks at FedEx all the time. You have the computer, and you need a $250 an hour guy to figure out, and he's not a mechanic, and the driver can't tell him nothing. So, I mean, you're gonna run into all them issues too. That's all I got to say.
Pat, did you have anything you wanted to ask or add?
I'll just make the motion that we approve putting the bid out for purchase of a wheel loader.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mansky,
No.
Cole,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Torney,
Yes.
passed by majority, Your Honor.
Thank you, Gladys. All right, I don't think I'm skipping anything else. Now, we're at item number 9, and it's time for public comments. Citizens are allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss any non-agenda item. You must come to the microphone, and you please need to state your name and your address so that we know who you are and where you live. So you can just approach the microphone. Sorry about that earlier.
You got my name right. I live at 705 Ottawa Court, but I also work at 401 West Chicago. So recently I heard you were talking about a medical marijuana dispensary. Not sure where you are in that discussion. So, and I honestly don't know if I'm coming tonight as a community member or a superintendent. I think I wear both hats and speak in both veins. And I have to tell you, I'm opposed in both ways. And so as you're making this decision, I'm hoping that you take into consideration the vision that we've really started to build in this community. Behind your head is Buchanan, life is better here. We talk about small town, big hearts. We talk about small town values. We've talked about Bucktown, Buck pride. You heard it here. Welcome to the woods. You see maroon and white everywhere. You see a big community push for making sure this community is known and known for these kind of values. Now we have the Buchanan Promise coming in, and there's another marketing piece that's coming in with that, where we're trying to bring more people in this community to live and help us thrive. And we talk about it being safe, and we talk about, you know, this is where people want to grow up. You see these little kids, and it's known for kids can go out on these streets and play, and people don't worry about that. It's those small, hometown, old-fashioned values that we have, and I don't want to see that change. That's what kind of brought a lot of us here. And so I have to tell you, over the last couple of days, I've just quick Googled some things, and based on the data from Seattle Police Department, their property crime rate within Seattle, burglary, motor vehicle theft, and larceny, have been rising since 2012. It's gone from 32,000 to over 40,000 incidents. Motor vehicle theft has increased over 50%. We have early lessons from legislation in Colorado. Yes, there's fewer crimes, but that's because they're not arresting people who have marijuana, and they do say that in the article. But they have marijuana-related DUI citations involving marijuana that has doubled between 2013 and 14, went from 33% to 66%, rose again in 2015 from 66% to 73%. Traffic fatalities have increased from 44%, have increased 44%. Marijuana use in 18 to 25-year-olds rose from 26% in 2012 to over 30% in 2014, and the trend is continuing uprise. Marijuana-related calls to the Rocky Mountain Poison and Drug Center more than doubled from 109 in 2012 to 227 in 2015. That's over 100% increase. This letter that I found on the internet came from a district attorney in Denver who talks about statewide homicides have gone up over 14%, sexual assaults have risen 10%, 1,059 more cars were broken into. This is just in Denver. 903 more auto thefts, 321 more aggravated assaults. Volume of marijuana seized per case has increased from an average of 162 pounds to over 5,000 pounds. Volume of marijuana seized, quantity of illegal marijuana seized has increased 3,424%.
Dr. Vanderlaan, I'm really sorry, but your 3 minutes are up.
Up,
If you would
okay.
like to give those materials and all your statistics, because we're very interested in all the information you're sharing, and we are gathering information.
Right.
So if you would like to give that to Gladys for us, and we'll make sure that we all spend some time with it. And yes, and we really thank you for coming, and I know 3 minutes is really not
It is.
a lot
and
of
I want
time. Yes.
When is your thing again? When is your work session?
If everybody wants to write it down, it's February
February
7th, and is it at 6 or 7? Because at 7
And you know
p.m.
what I will do is I will copy these because I grabbed them off my desk today and I do not have copies and I'd like to keep them.
Oh, sure,
There's
absolutely.
several statistics in here about children and how the increase is going into the schools, and you know where I sit with that
Yes.
already.
Mhm.
So.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And thank you for coming. Okay, who would like to speak next? Okay, we'll just kind of go across the room if that's okay. Thank you. Hi, I need your name and your address,
Jeannie
please.
Harris, and I live
Hi.
at 320 Bluff Street here in Buchanan.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for
And
coming.
My thoughts exactly what she was talking about. You know, Buchanan to me is like Mayberry, USA. And you've got this promise here where you're trying to get people to bring their children here, to buy homes here. But then, on the other hand, you've got this marijuana dispensary that you also want to put into this town. Now, I live on Bluff Street. This dispensary would be down the street from me. I don't want it there. And other people from this neighborhood, they don't want it, but I want them to get up and say what they have to say about it. And as city officials and managers, I think it's very disrespectful. And how dare you consider putting it in between 3 churches? 3 churches, it will sit in the middle of 3 churches. So how could you even consider that? That's very disrespectful. We all went through an era in our community where it was drug infested. We had people selling drugs, using drugs. We had guys coming from surrounding cities fighting, loud music all the time. They congregated at the local park there. It was terrible. We do not want to go through anything like that again. So, you can consider putting it somewhere else, but we're going to do whatever we have to do to fight you on this, because we do not want it at the corner of Red Bud Trail and Bluff Street. That's it. That's it. We're not going to allow it. We'll do whatever we have to do. It's sitting next the street, and over here are homes. And I looked it up. You're not supposed to have any place like that 250 feet from residential property. And I know you're considering rezoning it. We don't want our neighborhood rezoned, so it comes commercial or whatever it has to be for you to put this dispensary there. We don't want it, and once again, we will fight that. We'll do what we have to do to fight this. So I'm not asking, I am saying we're not in support of it. We don't want it there. Find another location, and we're going to fight you tooth and nail on this.
Okay, thank you for coming. And we need to hear people's opinions. Thank you. Yes, and that's great. And personally, as your mayor, I am very happy to see people here and coming and speaking out. So hi, you just need to state your name and your address, please.
Burns, 808 West Front Street. I grew up in Buchanan on Bluff Street. I'm opposed to this. My question to you is, why that location? Why not downtown Buchanan? Why not in your neighborhood? None of you live on that side of the town. All of us do. So why not put it in your neighborhood? Find a place there. We have small kids that grow up there. I grew up there. It's not a place for marijuana. And I think you should find someplace else for it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. City Manager Marks?
Mayor, if I could make a statement now,
Yes.
just to try to clarify
Yeah.
something. There seems to be an idea out there that we have already approved something, and that is very, very far from the truth. We've been approached by a resident from the community asking about possibly putting in a dispensary, asking us to consider opting into the law. We have made no effort, and we have taken no action to opt into the law. So right now, marijuana is still not here. It's not going to be here until the commission opts in. So nobody has been approved for anything. There has to be an effort by the commission to opt into the law before that can ever be considered, okay? And there's 5 different segments to the law. Dispensaries is what everybody seems to be riled up about. We haven't approved a dispensary. There's grow operations, processors, transporters, and testing labs. Those are all segments of the law that the commission could opt into to allow into the community. We haven't done anything, okay? So, you know, don't believe that because it was proposed and the gentleman who proposed it happens to have an interest and ownership in the property at North Redbud, that it's already a done deal. It's far from it. He would have to jump through a bunch of hoops himself, even if we approve it, to establish something up there. And the biggest question is that the commissioners are trying to educate themselves on what does this medical marijuana law mean, okay? That's what we're going to do at the work session, is try to gain some understanding of what the legislature says can happen here. From there, I'm suggesting the commission will have to act on it, but there'll be a couple of public hearings where the public comes in and actually talks about it. And again, I'm recommending to the commission that we have 2 public hearings, one for the people who support it and one for the people that don't support it, okay? It's important to get everybody's position out so the commission can understand and hear from the community. I think this is great. This is local government or work here, okay? Very important. We want to hear your comments, and don't mistake us as that we've approved anything. We haven't approved anything, okay? So the work session will be February 7th at 7 o'clock. Our assistant city attorney will be here, and he'll outline the law as he understands it, telling the commission what the parameters are that they can consider or act in, or choose to do nothing and nothing happens. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at. So, you know, we're not the bad guys. We haven't approved anything yet, okay? We have one person that suggested a location, and just by that suggestion doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So we want your input and to hear everything you have to say, pro and con, about this idea. The commission will make a decision somewhere along the line as they believe they have enough information to do so. So again, we haven't approved anything yet. So, okay? So please keep that in mind when you're making your comments.
Hi, welcome.
Hi.
Just don't forget your name and your address.
My
Thank
name
you.
is Margaret Young. I live at 425 Arctic Street
Hi,
here
Margaret.
in Buchanan. And I'm glad to hear him say that it's not a done deal, and we're glad to hear that. But we just don't want this to sneak up on us.
Yes.
Because
Understandably.
myself, I never would have known about this if I hadn't seen it on the news. I didn't hear it anywhere in Buchanan. And one of my other concerns about it, first off, is being in a residential district. Even though it may not be zoned at that particular place, there are a lot of children. There's mosques and school not, a mile? Maybe not 2 miles away. That does not sound like a good alternative. So I am opposed to it for those reasons.
Thank you for coming. I think the gentleman in the middle is next. Oh, well, I meant him, but if you guys can work it out, that'd be great. Thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, Doyle Vergon, 114 Lake Street.
Hi, Doyle. Thank you for coming.
I want to just add my comments. I agree completely with the previous comments, but I question, doesn't a decision like this for rezoning go to the zoning board first and make the recommendation to the commission, whether to rezone or not?
I believe so, yes.
The planning commission would,
Has it gone before that board?
No, because we're not at that point
We're not
yet.
at that point.
That should be number one.
Okay.
if I may, my main discussion is the deplorable, excuse me, the deplorable condition of the trees, or the dead trees in Buchanan.
Okay, can you step closer to the microphone? Because we just want to
Yes,
make
I
sure you're
will.
on the record. Oh, okay, thank you. Yep.
I'm sorry I didn't make copies.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Talking primarily on one block, now mind you, and that's the only one I'm most familiar with. The other, and you have to be blind not to see them all over town. It's just unbelievable. The first one at 103 Lake Street there has been dead for 2 years. 107, right on down the street, has been dead for I don't know how long. Sorry, I don't have it.
No, take your time, please.
You're good, Dora.
Piles of brush all up and down the street, some limbs falling off. 116 Lake Street is right next door to me, and then them limbs come down, they're gonna come on me as well as the neighbor. Right across the street, another 115 Lake Street. The limbs have come down on a house there, or in a car there, already causing $2,000 damage. Of course, the city's not responsible. Turn it into your local insurance. Yeah, and then watch your rates go up. It's just, I've talked to the city manager about this recently, and he informed me that there is going to be some funds placed in the budget to take care of some of this. But it's to a situation now that, you know, the boys out at the cemetery take care of this stuff. But, you know, it's unbelievable how far they're behind. There's literally hundreds of trees in Buchanan that should come down. And I don't think there's an inventory. Maybe he has it out there. I don't know. But city manager mentioned a budget number to me, and that wouldn't begin to cover hardly one street. It's and backing all of that up. I hope Buchanan's still a tree city, and for every tree you take down, I hope a new one goes back in the ground.
Yes,
More money.
absolutely.
And I think the real kind of disgusting thing, two more things. There's one here I didn't mention. It's at 110 Lake Street. The big limbs come off of that tree 2 years ago and smashed into my neighbor's house. There's just a straggly portion of the tree sticking up there, and I've outlined, circled the one limb that the I&M, I'll call it the I&M, I don't know, they contracted a
Yes.
firm to come through and trim the trees on that side of the street. Don't ask me why, because they took off branches as little as this. They said they're going to raise the power line, and they didn't want any of this little brush in its way. Now, the tree at 110 Lake, they did take one limb off of that, but look at the rest of the tree. While they were there, why didn't they take it down? It's just
Okay.
insane.
Yes, okay, and I'm really sorry, but your 3 minutes are up.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you, we appreciate it, but I'm going to let City Manager Marks kind of give you a general, and everyone here, a little general idea of what's going on with the trees. Did you want to cover that a minute, or did you want to?
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll get a copy from you.
Do you
Oh,
want-
okay. Or do you want to wait to your comments to address that? Did you want to wait to your comments? Did you have any comments about the trees, or do you want to wait to your comments at the end?
I'll
Okay.
wait for mine.
All right, great. Hi, who are you and where do you live?
Yes, my name is Glenn Paul Boyer. I'm the pastor of the New Hope Michigan Baptist Church on Fulton Street.
Okay, thank you.
And I live in Niles.
Okay.
Welcome. Say hello to the mayor and this commission. I think the issue really is not the medical facility itself. That's not the issue. The real issue is the location. And we just want to press it on your mind to consider that location not to be. Because I came from a city, Detroit area, Pontiac area, In our neighborhoods, the liquor stores and all that, it's all in our neighborhood. It's not in the suburb neighborhoods. So the real issue, I know you're listening to us, but to really understand what the community really is saying, don't even consider that at all from the very beginning. That's what the cry is about right now.
Okay.
You know, that
Yes.
you would even consider that space because you got a lot of spaces other places, area, business area, but you like I said, you got 3 churches, got residential areas. So the issue with the community is please do not even consider. We're not knocking the legal. We're not knocking the law. We're not knocking that. We have to uphold the law. But we do have a voice in where our community lives and how we want our community to be. So that's the issue here. So I hope you really consider that when y'all do this thing, that this area would not be considered at all in the process.
Okay. Thank you.
Ain't that what we're saying?
Yes, thank you.
That's exactly what we're saying. So,
Yes, thank you.
So we're not fighting y'all.
Right, no.
We're not fighting the system. We're fighting the area. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Come on up, thank you. Don't forget your name and your address, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Rowland. I'm at 4793 Tulip Tree Lane. I didn't expect to speak on this, but I think I kind of have a unique, aspect on it because I lived in Colorado when that law actually was enacted. A couple of things. One, when you look at stats, specifically stats that have to do with crime, one of the things you also have to look at is that Denver is the second fastest growing city in the country. They have double-digit growth over the last 10 years, and per capita crime has actually gone down. I'm not saying that I support the measure or anything like that, but I do think if we look at it, it should be based off facts. It should be based not just on emotion. I do think the location is not the perfect location, but medical marijuana is something that our country, it's coming. And small communities all across Colorado, all across Washington, all across all the states that are making it legal are making enormous amounts of tax revenue that will help our community, help specifically your area if it needs help. So when you go through those motions of trying to figure out what to do, I hope it's not an emotional thought process. I hope that it's looked at as a business decision for our city and a cultural decision for our city. But the real reason I'm here is actually, again, Michael Rowland. I've been in commercial banking for about 10 years, and I've transitioned into commercial real estate. And as I grew up in Buchanan, went to Buchanan High School, moved away for about 10 years across the country in different roles. And now with the commercial real estate, one of the things that I want to do personally is help Buchanan in particular. I cared very deeply about the success of the city and bringing businesses back to this community. I see a lot of vacant properties in this community that are well under market value. I see a lot of projects that we do in this city that cost a lot of tax dollars. I think one of the best things we can do is increase our tax base, and that'll allow us to flourish in coming years. So I'd be very interested. I've went to the website. I've seen some of the projects that you've done in the past, some of the ideas you have. Layman's new facility, the new gym. These are all great projects. But what, as far as tax abatements, possible future programs are going to be available? In addition to that, I'd also just like to know kind of the process from my point of view on how I can help the city, help my community, try to find some businesses, whether it be coming from South Bend into Buchanan, coming across state line from Indiana. There are states all over this country that have that we have advantages on, whether it be from a tax structure, community structure, whatever it may be. And I think everybody in this room would like to see more large companies come back in and fill some of these vacant buildings.
Okay, thank you very much. If you want to stick around after the meeting, one of us can talk to you about getting you in touch with, a committee or whatever. So don't rush out, okay?
Perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Okay, yes, thank you. Anyone else? And again, I am just very encouraged that you all are here this evening. So many evenings we come and we talk about really important things for our community, and we're talking to maybe 1 or 2 people. And we're very pleased that you came and you stayed. And yes, some of the city business is kind of boring and dull, and we understand that, but we appreciate your commitment to this issue and for coming and speaking your heart and your mind. And we definitely are taking your words seriously and taking it into consideration when we're making our decisions, so thank you. And with that, we're going to move on to item number 10, and that is the city manager's comments, and we're going to turn it over to Chief Marks.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, audience. We are a little disappointed in the fact that Mother Nature hasn't supported our Winter Thrill event. We had to cancel that for this year. The weather forecast predicted warmer than normal temperatures, and under those conditions, we're not able to make our own snow to support the event. And I know it disappointed a lot of people in town. It disappointed the staff. But what we will be looking at is trying to enhance the Summer Thrill, which will be in August, the first weekend in August. We're still planning on that, and we'll get the request to the commission here very soon to with some of the enhancements we're going to be after. For Doyle and the community, the tree issue is significant. We are a Tree City, USA. We have actually thousands of trees in the city. They're large, they're majestic, they're old. Some are dying, some are dead, and the city crews, on average, take down about 30 trees a year. And that seems to be a lot, but it's not enough for us to keep up with the problem. Doyle is correct. We've got a significant problem with the number of old trees in the community, which are large and threatening. The present initial plan, which the commission will be talking about during goal setting and budget talks, is to earmark an additional $20,000 towards the tree issue. That $20,000 will be in addition to what our summer crews will do. In some of these cases, some of these trees are too intimidating for even our crews to tackle. That $20,000 would be proposed, and if approved through the budget, we'll use that money to contract tree services to take down these largest and most threatening trees. The other side of it is we have seasonal crews that are hired throughout the summer. Part of our idea would be to create a tree crew out of the seasonal employees that would just handle and cut down trees, as many trees as we can that are on our list of vulnerable trees. And Doyle, I'll make sure, I pretty much believe that the trees that you're showing here are already on my list. But yeah, but we'll, and that's where we need to get to. 30 trees a year is what we can, again, our cemetery crew is the crew that goes out and cuts down the trees, and they do that in between burials and that. So yeah, we know we have a problem. We're going to address it a little more aggressively this year, and we already have. We just contracted this last week for 3 trees to be taken down by a contractor because they were significant in size and pretty deteriorated. So we are addressing that.
Excuse me, but no way meant to fault the crew out of the cemetery. They do
Oh, no, absolutely. I know they do. It just, yeah. Yep, it is more than they can handle. Again, each year we take down 30 trees, but we have 60 trees show up on our list, and it's just constant. And we do need to do a better job addressing that. And I'm hoping that with the added funds, if the commissioners approve it, we'll be able to tackle that pretty aggressively come the season, which will be about April. They'll start to appear for us to get out and start cutting down these trees. Again, since our last meeting, we've had a change in the item now. Since our last meeting, we've had a tragic event in that we lost a city employee. Mike Meyer, age 41, suffered a fatal heart attack at his home. And he was with the city for about 10 years. And we do miss his loss. Our crews are down to fairly minimum numbers, and his absence will be felt in that regard. His friendship will be felt in that regard. Mike was a rather intimidating fellow since he was so tall, big, strong, bald character, but he had a big heart, and the city will miss him. I know his coworkers are a little struggling with that loss. And again, we all here are a family. Okay, everybody in the audience, the commissioners, we have a goal, and that is to manage the community in which we live. It doesn't have to be adversarial. We need to speak up for the commission, who ultimately will make those decisions, and inform them how we feel. I mean, that's what this is about. We are a community. We're all responsible for protecting ourselves in the community, watching out for our youth. And so, your comments tonight go a long way to provide information to the commission so they can make that decision. The work session will help educate and create the boundaries in which the decision has to be made. Again, we're not anybody's enemy up here, okay? Nothing has been decided, so just keep those comments coming, promote them, rally behind your position, and understand that the decision hasn't been made. So very good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can acknowledge you. Go ahead.
Come to our meetings every.
Yeah, please,
Yes.
Please,
as
come to
many
our
as
Come
you
meetings.
to the
can.
meetings.
Second and fourth
When your
Mondays
voices are
of every
here, then
month.
we hear it.
Yes.
We want to see you.
Pastor, stay
Yeah.
around after the meeting,
Yes.
please.
Please. Absolutely. We all feel that way. Okay. Okay. We can't take any more public comments at this time. Our next meeting is the second Monday of the next month. But also, letter writing is a very good thing too, because then we have a written record of what you are desiring to. So please don't. Oh. Okay. The newsletter?
She wants to know if the newsletters are gonna.
Oh, no, I'm not telling you to shut up. I'm sorry.
Mayor,
Okay.
I can address that. Yeah, newsletters are going out, and actually what we've been trying to do is capture as many emails as possible. So if people wanted to leave us their email, we'll put it on the newsletter, and we're trying to get those out more often with the loss of the Berrien County Record. So people have a more direct way of understanding what's going on here at City Hall. So if yeah, I'll leave a notepad up here if somebody wanted to leave their email with us, or if you come in to pay your water bill, you can leave it at the front desk. That'll be given to Mandy, who pushes out the newsletter, and then you'll start getting that information on what's going on. Okay?
Also get copies of those.
Yeah. So, and Gladys will have copies of those at the clerk's office, so if you come in to pay your water bill, she'll have copies available. So, yes, very, very good. Good question.
Okay, we're going to move on to commissioners' comments, and this evening we'll be starting with Commissioner Moore.
Well, I want to thank you for coming, since I definitely told you we need to hear from you, and this is the place to express your opinions. And also, I don't think there's any intent to target anything. We didn't come up with an address. The person who was asking us in the beginning, that was his suggestion. That has nothing to do, we didn't propose that. We are just the recipient of someone asking us to consider it. So that's what the workshop's about and all that. There's, like the chief says, nothing has been decided, but as I explained to many people here, for past two meetings, we've had all people talk in favor of a dispensary. Not one person came forward to say they didn't like the idea. So thank God you're coming forward tonight, and hopefully we will continue to hear all the voices involved in all sides of the argument as we go on towards deciding any decision, future decision, whatever that is. As far as the trees go, I want to remind you that we do have a program in place to try to replace at least some of the trees that will be and are constantly being cut down. We have a memorial tree program. So if you want to honor somebody or celebrate a special event for a very reasonable $150, you can have a tree and the city workers will plant it for you. It can go into a particular park. It can, if they have access, it can go on private property, but they have to have access. So that is one way we can all step up and take a responsibility to try to repopulate the loss of our trees. Also, the play at the Tin Shop Theater is on this coming weekend and next weekend. Our Town is the play, and you can call and get your tickets by calling 695-6464 and make reservations. This weekend, it's Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday matinee, but on the following weekend, because of the Super Bowl, the Sunday matinee is being moved up to 2 o'clock. So I just want to let people know about that change of time. Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming. We really do appreciate it.
Commissioner Dan?
Well, I want to clear something up right now about the dispensary. There is absolutely no licenses that can be applied for until the 15th of December this year. They won't be looked at by the state until after the first of the year, 2018. So we're 12 months out before anything can happen. As of right now, they are illegal statewide. Police departments, district attorneys choose not to prosecute the ones that are open. That's what they failed to tell you in the newspapers. As far as the dog park, yeah, they made a decision. They made a decision. Okay? You weren't down here. You've been down here for the Parks and Recreation Board Committee. you need to come down here every month. I've been sending my wife down here a couple times just to kind of see what's been going on. As far as the address for the dispensary on Redbud, he come down here and kind of knocked us all off our chairs. Then he showed up at the following meeting with a group of friends. Me personally, I want as much education on this as possible, I don't want to say no to the golden chicken, because if it goes recreational, which I feel it will, because it wasn't put on the ballot in 2016, because they didn't collect their signatures to get it on the ballot by the legislators in Lansing in time to put it on the ballot. They did not put it on the ballot because they did not get their signatures in the time frame that they needed to get their signatures. They will probably get their signatures for 2018. State of Michigan will probably be recreational legal in 2018. Everybody can sit around and go, no, 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 no. And I've talked to the representatives and the legislators, and they all think, no, 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 it's not a presidential election. We all know marijuana smokers, and we all know they've wanted it legal for 40 years. They will turn out in droves to make it recreationally legal. I want the rules, the regulations, the laws set in place so that the city of Buchanan can either go for it or not. I want it downtown. I don't think it should be out in the industrial park. I don't think it should be rezoned commercially. We have property that's already commercial. But, and as far as the school students, I have a lung disease that is very bad, so I've talked to lots of lung doctors about it. Lots of them. They all believe in medicinal marijuana, but it is not medicine. It is illegal drugs right now. No matter what they call it, it's dope. It is dope. It's dope in Colorado. It's dope in Washington. It's dope in this state. And the way they're doing it is crooked and nasty. I don't care. They hand out the medical cards for $60. We all know it. Anybody that's around it knows it. I'm around it. You cannot have a gun. You cannot have a concealed carry permit if you have a carry permit for marijuana. So you can't even protect your stuff. You cannot drive a truck if you have a carry. If you get a permit to smoke marijuana and somebody decides they want to swab your mouth or make a urine test, you will be fired because there is nothing protecting you from smoking dope and going to work. And nobody wants to say it out loud. The overdoses in the emergency room, you cannot OD on marijuana. You cannot. You might become a vegetable for a couple of hours, and what that is from is the THC levels in the cookies they're making. They're outlandishly high. So you smoke a half, or you eat half a cookie, you don't feel nothing because it's in your belly and you're not taking it in your lungs. Eat another half a cookie, and you still ain't feeling nothing, so you eat a whole cookie. Well, you got 2 cookies in you where you should have ate a quarter cookie. Then all of a sudden, you are an iceberg. So you're laying there, take me to the emergency room, I'm dying. No, you're not. You're just in a THC stupor. I haven't had my 3 minutes yet.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just like, maybe we should save some of this.
I watched her clock.
Maybe we should save some of this education for the
No,
meeting.
this needs to be brought up.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
you
no, it
people are
does.
excited about this, and I'm glad you're excited about this because this is something that really, really hits the head of the nail on the head with a big hammer. And we need to make up our minds. Are we going to get on the bandwagon and make a lot of money when this comes true, or are we going to just sweep it under the rug and let the right-wingers say no, no, or are we going to force the federal government to find out what they can really do with marijuana by legalizing it? So that's my opinion on that. I agree with you 100%. I know.
And we're going to move right on to Commissioner Cole, please.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. It's nice to see faces out there that we can actually see. And it's nice that we can hear what you have to say. So many times, as has been said before, we've not had anybody here. Nobody to protest or say yes. So thank you for coming tonight. I did want to report the landfill had an audit, which belongs to Buchanan City, Buchanan Township, Niles City, Niles Township, and Bertrand Township. The auditors told us that we are in fantastic shape. We've got money in the bank, which we didn't have a few years ago when I started on the landfill board. And we're able to pay for repairs and buy our machinery that we need. And we now have guys working there that do most of the repair work, which is saving us tons of money. So anyway, I just want to let you know out there that our landfill's doing well. We have a fantastic general manager that's doing an excellent job. And we have a good board that are really watching the landfill for all of us. And that's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Turney?
Thank you, Mayor. First off, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. First off, you just did a very important thing tonight by showing up at this meeting. Second off, come to other meetings, like the city manager said, the zoning commission. I am on the planning commission. Once the zoning commission passes something that comes to the planning commission. That February 7th meeting in which we're taking questions from the audience, that is also a planning commission meeting. I would suggest that you show up for that also. Two other important things to note. Let your state representative know and your state senator know. Call them, write them, give them your feelings. This is a state issue and it's also a local issue. So if you let your state officials know how you're feeling, that might get them here. I have already contacted them. Hopefully they will send somebody to that February 7th meeting. So that is the most important thing. Contact your elected officials. And again, I hope someone will show up at that meeting. As I explained to them, the voters have questions. The key word is voters. And that's all I have to say.
And I just want to remind everyone that our personal email addresses are all listed on the city website. You can also write to us here. You can call us and leave us messages here. So don't feel that, you know, in case you felt rushed this evening or you get in your car later like I sometimes do and think, oh, I wish I would have said that or I wish I would have asked that question. You don't have to just come to meetings to get the information that you need. And thanks again for coming. I do want to point out the Buchanan Preservation Society has some really neat publications that they've started selling. One of them is for the younger Buchanan resident. This is the Color Me Buchanan book, and for $10 you can buy this. And it's all because the Preservation Society is primarily interested in the older buildings in our town. There are lovely pencil drawings of downtown buildings, and the children can actually go and, you know, duplicate the colors or color them whatever colors they want. Personally, it'd be kind of fun to see a first grader color this thing all up with pink, purple, blue, orange, you know. I would love that. I just bought this one. It's just really nice, and it was made by local people. We didn't just send it away to, you know, out of state and get it copied somewhere. The drawings are by Buchanan residents. Also, I received a letter this week from the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks. This is our clerk, Gladys Bybee, and she does a lot of work for the city. She has to stay organized. She stays on top of the law. She keeps all of us in line. She is the hardest working person. And I received a letter from the Michigan Association Municipal Clerks, and they want to recognize Gladys because she just finished her continuing certification program, and we wanted to let her know that we're really proud of that. And I'd like to pass this letter down so Gladys can have that. Thank you, Gladys. Congratulations, and we think that's awesome. And one final quick fun thing. Over the Christmas holiday season, I was invited down to the Moose Lodge by a Patriots Christmas organization. They're a group of hardworking people who like to honor the vets by having craft shows, and then they take that money that they earn and they donate it to various veterans causes. This year, the woman who's in charge of that, her name is Tracy Lee Smith. She invited me down to accept this gift. This is a flag. It's through the Spirit of America Foundation and the Forgotten Heroes. An artist named Dale Hemphill made this flag. He drew it himself and he designed it himself. He started off in the 1970s with this idea. He wanted a flag to honor all of the conflicts of the United States. So he's worked over the years and he's added to this flag, and he has donated one to our city to fly proudly. It's probably really too nice to fly. We'll probably want to hang it on the wall in here. But I'm going to have Commissioner Dan and Commissioner Pat hold it up so you can all see it. And I just thought that was a really nice gift for him to give to the city. I have his contact information, and I'll lay it over there on the table. If you're interested in ordering one for yourself or to give away as a gift, he also has, you know, a bunch of different ways you can buy it as posters. And then, you know, he takes all that money and he gives it away to veterans organizations. So, you know, if you feel so inclined to support him, I just thought this was a really neat thing. And it literally has the names of all the conflicts, military conflicts here in the United States. And with that, again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I need a motion to end the meeting.
Also move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. I'm sweating. I am sorry I tried to skip over so much. You know what it was? I always check off everything we do, and tonight I didn't. Don't let me do that